Alrighty, good eye gone. Happy New Year, by the way. I hope everyone's New Year's Eve and, the days around it were fun and safe and festive. We are starting off the year with some more driver's education, kind of, in a sense. Anything related to cars, especially even just driving and, certain rules and techniques and, even driver's ed type stuff in different countries is always fascinating because, of course, it's quite different. And it's fun to get a different perspective on things. We've looked at stuff in Australia before, and you guys know by now that I'm very fascinated by Australian cars and even driving in Australia, right? There's a lot different compared to here in the U.S. Now, the topic we're looking at today is definitely different. It's something I've never even heard of, and I do not think exists here in the U.S. At least I've never seen it. It's called a hook turn, and apparently this is a pretty big deal and a daily part of life, especially in Melbourne, Australia, at least as far as I know, maybe elsewhere. These videos and clips were sent to me through email by Damien, so shout out to you. Thank you so much for that. These will all be linked down below so you can check them out, check out the channels. We're going to jump straight into this. I have not seen this, of course. I'm just wondering what the hell a hook turn means because all I can think of, are regular turns and, possibly U-turns, right? But I don't believe that's what we're talking about. So let's get into it.
We'll take you through some common road rules that you need to know.
So this is our first clip.
A hook turn
is actually like straight up a driver's education style clip about a hook turn. And judging from the arrow, I'm already not recognizing this.
There are some unique situations you will come across when driving in Melbourne.
Okay, so it is Melbourne. Must be only in Melbourne, maybe. And that's kind of odd, right?
Need to turn right, you will need to perform a hook turn. Keep an eye out for this sign.
Oh, wow, it's a real sign.
So, how does a hook...
Whoa, hold up. Let me interrupt. Right turn from left only. What on earth? Okay, so obviously everything's different than what I'm used to. You're in a right-hand drive car. You're driving on the left side of the road. So that means, the dangerous turns at intersections would, of course, be crossing the intersection. For me, that would be turning left. For y'all in Australia, it would be turning right. But right turn from left, how does that make sense? That would mean you're in the left lane and you're crossing the whole damn, like as many lanes as possible. It doesn't even, what about the people over here? Holy smokes.
Turn work. First,
I'm interested.
You will need to be in the left-hand lane. Move forward, keeping clear of any marked foot crossing until your vehicle is as near as possible to the far side of the road.
Okay, so then they're going even further to the left, as far as you can go.
Remain in this position until you see that the traffic lights on the road you want to enter have changed to green.
What?
Turn right into the road and continue straight ahead.
Okay, this is going to take, we're going to be looking at a few clips, and I'm glad, because remember, I'm just American. This is not normal for me. Doesn't mean this is bad, or doesn't mean that this doesn't make sense. It just means to me, right now, it doesn't make sense. This is crazy. How have I never heard of this? I've covered a lot in Australia. I've never heard of this for some reason. So right away, my first thoughts are, what about these cars in a right lane, right? You're already trying to yield to the oncoming cars. Now you're yielding to cars going your way as well. So that's kind of crazy. Also, you're looking at your lights, which would be right here. And those are green. That's why you're in an intersection. Now you also got to look at these lights. Ooh, this sounds like a handful already. Look at that. Oh, the blue car followed them, but they turned sharper, and they're in a near lane, and the green car turned to the far lane. Is that correct? Damn. That's it. Okay. Well, I would be screwed if that's it. I got to see more. I got to see more on this. All right, let's take a look at supposedly a more in-depth one.
Explanation of hook turns in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Before we proceed, let's look at why hook turns exist in Melbourne and mostly in the central business district.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they exist as well. Because why couldn't you just... So if I'm thinking of how I handle a left-hand turn at an intersection, if I just think opposite for you guys, I would be in the right lane, typically. You come up to the intersection, you yield to oncoming traffic, and then once it's clear, you go. Why wouldn't you just do that, right? Why is there the whole hooking out and then over element, right? There's got to be a reason, clearly.
This video, we can see a driver is stopped waiting for a tram to proceed through.
Ooh, okay, that's another another cog in the machine. This is getting heavy. Okay. So I mean, obviously Melbourne's a big city. It's a crowded city. So you are dealing with a lot. Everyone knows cities, like big cities, are a little more stressful, a little more involved driving in than a cozy, chill, suburb or small town somewhere. So I'm going to guess now it has something to do with traffic flow and or perhaps trams and pedestrians, maybe?
Proceeds, the driver then moves onto the tram lanes on an angle to turn right.
Okay, this car they have to watch, but they're waiting to turn as well. They're waiting to cross an intersection the other way. There's no one coming straight from the ongoing direction, or from the oncoming, rather, the oncoming direction.
Had the driver been stopped in this position to give way to oncoming traffic, they would have been blocking any approaching trams. In a similar fashion, the driver is turning right at this intersection with no tram lane and blocking road users behind from traveling straight through.
Oh, yeah, they're blocking traffic behind them. This Kia is blocking our camera car and presumably everyone behind them as well. Okay.
This is why hook turns exist, so road users
that is
don't
what it is,
block
right?
the center of the intersection, stopping the flow of the straight through traffic. The hook turn sign is to the left before we approach this intersection. As we are about to enter this intersection, we can see that there is a right turn only arrow marking, indicating where we should stop and wait with our vehicle.
Interesting. So there's a sign that's already, clue enough that this is an official maneuver and technique, but there's also a lane marking in the intersection. So this looks like, as he said, this is basically they gave you a dedicated staging area to wait out with your signal on. Then, obviously when it's clear, you go. So this is, wow. Yeah, this definitely does not exist here. Around 2 vehicles can usually fit in this.
In front of us is green.
This area.
However, the traffic light to the right of us, where we want to go, is currently red. The traffic.
Wow. So you got to watch your light, and you got to watch the other light. Got to watch your traffic coming on the right side of you, going straight. Of course, you have to watch oncoming traffic from the over here. If you can see my cursor. Let me just say something. I don't think this is working in the U.S. Do I have to tell you the secret? It's not a secret. Drivers are really bad here. Actually, as a matter of fact, the day I'm recording this, I am not joking. I'm not joking. Look at this. I'm taking the screen off. Eyes right here. I literally saw a wreck behind me in my mirror today from just horrible driving, right? Thank goodness I wasn't involved. And it wasn't a bad wreck, not injuries, but, cars got damaged. And to add to that, it was a hit and run. So, I literally, like, someone, I don't know if they were teenagers or what, but it was like 4 people stuffed in a Toyota Camry. And there was a Chevy Tahoe, another lane, and they went to change lanes, but they didn't care at all. They didn't have a signal on. They didn't obviously look, or I don't know what their deal is, but they turned right into it, right into the Tahoe. And they just sped off and turned into a neighborhood, like off of the main road. And the Tahoe, I don't know if the lady, didn't know what to do or what, but she kind of like just kept going. I came up to a light and she kind of kept going and literally looked like she went about her day. And I saw the damage, you know, the side of it was damaged. I'm like, holy crap, just another day driving in the U.S., like, help. I cannot make this stuff up. Drivers have been very, very bad lately around us. By lately, I mean like the last couple of years, I feel like it's really ramped up, like just bad. And now I'm looking at this. Let me go back now. I'm looking at this technique and these rules and the beautiful lane markings and stuff. Like, yeah, this sounds a little bit odd from the outside. That's fair. I think I would be a little bit nervous and confused about this, not going to lie. But I'm a good driver. I think I could pick it up eventually. But I'm thinking on a mass scale. Imagine if they tried this here. Let's just get real. This is never, ever working here, which is so funny, But I'm glad it works in Melbourne. Clearly, y'all are decent at driving.
Light in front of us.
I mean, this is pretty impressive.
And red. We can now start to slowly move our vehicle, but we cannot proceed until the traffic light is green.
Okay, this is an important detail that I didn't understand till right now. I'm glad he showed this. It sounds like you actually do wait until your light is red, indicating that no one behind you is going to sneak up and cross your path here and basically rear end you, right, when you're turning over. Because that was my first concern, right? Is like, whoa, hold up. You have to yield to oncoming traffic and you have to yield to people in the right lane going your way, but you're turning in front of them essentially, right? No, this makes much more sense because now that light's red, presumably the oncoming traffic, if you see my cursor again, that light is red for them as well. So now they're stopped. The people behind you are stopped, so there's no one coming in intersection, to hit you, right? And now you can look over there. If that's green, then you can turn, and you're kind of good to go. That's interesting.
On the road we want to enter to our right.
Wow. I mean, I get it, I think.
The video. Thank you.
It is bizarre, but it also is kind of like ingenious, right? That it's for a specific scenario and a specific city that has these types of intersections with trams and pedestrians and traffic. So it's kind of like an interesting workaround for, it seems like, decent traffic flow as well as not getting bunched up in intersections and, basically cars blocking other cars or blocking trams, right? Very interesting. Although it does take a lot of, driver awareness, which, let's be fair, drivers should be aware when they're on the road at all times, no matter what the road rules are. So, all right, so this is an outside view. Let's see how it looks.
At selected intersections, if you want to turn right, you have to sit here in the left-hand lane and wait until you get the green light from this side to
Look
go,
at that.
And then he turns.
So he's going now because all these are red now. The light to his right on the side is green. Now here's a weird thing.
Right.
They're in a way right here. They should not be in a way, correct?
There you go. Easy, I'll show you how.
That's why they honk.
So here's the sign you need to look out for.
Okay.
Right turn from left lane.
There's a
and
tram.
That's the markings on the road. You can see there the two turns, and straight ahead is in the right-hand lane. At the moment, these cars are turning left, so that's pretty easy.
Yeah, so they'll get out of the way.
Here into the left-hand lane.
Okay, these guys right here, it looks like we have two vehicles waiting in that offset, a little bit out of the way, hook turn staging lane, essentially. Look at that.
They'll sit there quite happily. That light's now turning red, which means the guy's going the other direction.
God, what a vibrant city. I mean, I do have to do deeper dives into the cities, man. Melbourne looks cool. And what's so lively, right? People walking everywhere, people driving everywhere, people on trams, people on buses, people bicycling or cycling rather. Damn. I mean, yes, I know that's a lot of big cities, but really, you got to be careful driving in Melbourne. There's a lot going on.
Green light, and there they go.
What a cool van. What the hell?
This intersection.
Look at that.
Along with the other cars.
See, that made it look pretty smooth, didn't it?
And they the direction. We've got a green light, and there they go.
and they turn, and then the people waiting to the left can go right after them, can go straight for them.
Along with the other cars
man.
going up that road. There's the other one to look out for. The traffic lights above the green light says wait. So they wait in this square on the road here.
You know, that is impressive with the lane markings, the physical sign, and then that digital sign as well. Infrastructure, you have to understand, I am always, infrastructure and traffic flow and, you know, traffic efficiency, this kind of thing I am always fascinated by because I live in the worst place for this, right? The U.S. is kind of behind the times as it is with infrastructure, even though we're such a car-dependent nation. A lot of places just do not work. It's too crowded. There's traffic jams everywhere. You know, it's clunky. The driving experience here can be really good or it can be really, really bad too. And unfortunately, combining that with also out of the U.S., I believe, at least my opinion for what it's worth, it happens to be a lot of other people's opinions, by the way, is Illinois is like one of the worst places to drive as well. It's super expensive, all the taxes and tolls here to drive, and yet the roads and infrastructure is bad. It's just bad. So, you know, when I see all this going on, it's kind of like, oh, what a breath of fresh air, man. You know, it's very, it's well thought out, and it's pretty cool to see. Here's an overhead
crossing. So it's a safety feature.
Look at this.
But it makes for very interesting observations, especially if you're not from there. I think it's something you probably have to grow up with and appreciate and learn how to drive in. It's not for the faint of heart. So
No.
you have to be...
Yeah, you have to understand from the outside looking in, I get that it's probably not hard, especially if you're used to it. But it's not a normal thing. It's not something you would find in every city on earth, right? It's very different and unique. I just had this explained to me through multiple videos. But if we go back 20 minutes to where I've never had this explained to me, I'm seeing this overhead with no context, and I'm seeing this lane and the weird sign, right? And I'm thinking, what the hell is a hook turn? Like, what is that for?
Be brave to venture out in that.
You know, like, look at that. Look at that. Like, none of it makes sense to me. It's also very intimidating, like, seeing it and then, you know, practicing in person, like, stick me in a right-hand drive car, the opposite side of the road. I'm already nervous, right? It's not what I'm used to. Then you throw in the different road rules like this, and it's like, okay, we got to think. We got to think harder than I've thought driving, you know, in a long time, right?
That intersection, as you can see here, but it's quite an innovative cultural geography piece called a hook turn, and that's in Melbourne, Australia. Enjoy.
Melbourne is the only city in the world that legally uses hook turns. So according to this, that's it. Like, it is the only place. And here's, like, from just a regular perspective, that is weird, isn't it? It feels wrong, like, because this is not a thing here. So if you like went over and then crossed a whole intersection, like, oh, whoops, I meant to go this way, you would look like an ass if you did this in the U.S. It would be so dangerous. It's just funny how different driving experiences can be.
In the far left lane, you're seeing all the straight-bound traffic go through on the right, and then once the straight-bound traffic is through and the light turns yellow, now this car turns to the right.
See, you're depending on people not to run the light. Like, oh, it's yellow, let me gun it and go through. Yes, this is where the American speaking part of the video happens, where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm watching American. Yeah, that's proof. We're just bad. We're just bad. Too many people are like running yellows, running reds. I wouldn't trust it's yellow, so now's my turn. Yeah, someone would be coming to T-bone me at 60 miles an hour. I'm just saying, I'm too used to being very cautious out there on the road because people are crazy. That's going to do it. That's just literally one technique, but we took a deep dive on it. I think it's very, very interesting, and I think it's awesome that it seems to work. I haven't seen any, negative takes on this. It looks like even the comments are saying that, yeah, it's a normal thing for them in Melbourne, and It works. It's not that hard once you get used to it, and it's good for not, getting congestion in the intersection and not blocking the cars behind. And of course, not blocking trams either. Very fascinating. I think it definitely works as intended. I could safely say it's something I've never heard of and I've never experienced. Really, really cool. I turn to you in the comments. Is this something that you do normally? How do you feel about it? Or maybe you've had friends or family come out from out of town and they've had to, maybe get in a situation where they have to do a hook turn and they don't know what to do, right? Like, how do people handle this the first time? Can it be a little sketchy if people don't know what they're doing, or is it really a lot easier than people might think from the outside? You have to let me know. Thanks again for that email suggestion. Interesting, kind of one-off, unique ideas like this are awesome, and I really do appreciate it. Again, Happy New Year to everyone, and let's hope 2025 is awesome and nice to all of us. It's going to do it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.